Welcome to Mind Bending Monday. We are so excited that you're here. Today is Perplexing Placement Puzzles, Episode 3. Today is a two-dimensional puzzle, so students can take the strategies they learned in Episodes 1 and 2 with linear puzzles and apply them in a different situation. Are you ready? Let's get started. Perplexing Placement Puzzles, Episode 3. I'm so excited because this is our first two-dimensional puzzle. So students are going to get to apply all the strategies they've derived, such as the use of symbols, the way that you write the clues, the use of color. So if you haven't done that, you might want to stop, hit pause, go back to Episodes 1 and 2, and allow students to develop those strategies so that they can then apply them to this more challenging puzzle. Okay, let's get started. So we've talked about the use of color and we've talked about using the clues, not necessarily in the same order. So we'll come back to that or we'll continue to discuss it. But let's look at the first clue. All the numbers in the column on the right are greater than 6. So if your students didn't mention this at the very beginning, which they may not have, now is a good time for them to realize we need to label. You can use some of those same teaching strategies of like which columns are on the right and pointing to the wrong ones so that they start to realize we need a way to communicate. So for this particular puzzle, because we're using numbers, the puzzle is about numbers, students will probably pretty quickly realize, because we've used them before, we're going to use letters to label. B, C, D, E, F, G, H, and I. Okay, so now we can come back to our clue. Then the column on the right, that's C, F, and I. So when we were doing linear puzzles, we wrote the information vertically. So the numbers that are greater than 6 are 7, 8, 9. Some of your students may include 6, and hopefully someone else will say 6 is not greater than 6, it's equal to. But if they don't, you'll have to have that conversation and just question and say, well, really, are each of these numbers greater than 6? Let's think about it. But if I write the numbers that way, let's just experiment. We wrote them vertically in previous puzzles because our puzzles were linear and we didn't want to imply that we knew the order. But if we write them this way, look what happens. It looks like 7 is C and 8 is F and 9 is I. We don't know that's the case and we don't want to infer that. So in this particular clue, we really need to write it horizontally. Okay, let's look at another clue. So one of the things that you've been discussing with your students is whether or not you're going to do the clues in order. Well, you can do them in order, you'll get the right answer, but one of the things you want to discuss in your reflection is that when you have a clue that has 3 spots in the puzzle and 3 numbers, that's probably more helpful at the beginning than a clue that has 3 places and more than 3 numbers. So you can scan them and say, you know what, this, I know that there are only 3 multiples of 3. So the top row, A, B, and C, are 3, 6, and 9. But wait a minute. I wrote this horizontally. But when I write this horizontally, it looks like 3 is an A. 6, so that doesn't work. So you may have to adjust the way that you write information depending on the clue. That's pretty challenging. 3, 6, or 9. Okay, so at this point, you and I notice something. We see 9 here, and we know that that gives us some information. Let me give you a suggestion. You do not want to point that out to your students. They need to discover these things independently. However, you don't want to move so quickly through the puzzle that they don't have time to reflect. So give them time, and hopefully what they'll say is, hey, wait a minute. I see 9 here. I see 9 here. The only letter they have in common is C. So 9 must go in C. And if they see that, fantastic. If they don't, then just keep moving. Okay, let's look at the next clue. All numbers on the bottom row are primes. So G, H, and I. And it's a row again, so we'll write it vertically. 2, 3, 5, 7. And last but not least, all numbers in the column on the left are even. So A, D, and G. 2, 4, 6, 8. And because that is a column, I am going to write my clues horizontally. So if your students haven't made a connection by now, this would be a good time to say, well, we're at the end. We've read all our clues. What can we do? And just give students time to reflect and really look at the clues. Probably the first one they will notice will be 9. Well, 9 is here, and the only letter they have in common is C. So 9 must be C. And when someone sees that, they may just say, hey, C is number 9. Then really talk about how you know that and let them explain that 9 is listed in both clues and the only letter in common is C. So can you apply that strategy to any other number? Well, 7 is in 2 different clues, and the only letter that they have in common is I. So 7 must be I. Okay, what else do you notice? Well, students may say, wait a minute, 8 is the only number left in this clue. So 8 has to be F. That's true. So what else do you notice? Somebody might see 3. 3 is here. 3 is here. That's not very helpful because these don't have anything in common. What does that tell you? And just let students struggle with that for a minute. But what they may notice is that 3 has to be A or B. So it can't be these. And there are extra numbers here. So that means, you know what? I know 3 is not one of the numbers that's included in that group. Okay, that's helpful a little bit. And I can go back and somebody might say the same thing about 8. 8 is in F. There's not an F here. So I can say, you know what? 8 is not the number that's on the left. It's not on the left. Well, does that help? So probably the next thing they'll see is either 2 or 6, either one. 6 is here and here. A, B, A, D, G. So 6 must be A. Only thing they have in common. And what about, let's see, anything else? 2. 2 is here. 2 is here. So G and H, D and G, so 2 must be in G. What else do I know? Oh, 4 is the only number left. D is the only letter left. And same is true here, 5 and H. And 3 and B. Uh-oh. I don't have any more clues and I'm missing a number. But hopefully most of your students will realize, well, there's only one digit left, and that is 1. So as you can see, students really have to apply a lot of thinking, but all the evidence is there. And they are learning to combine, to really think about things until they solve the problem. Thank you so much. Mind Bending Monday is designed to help you and your students. So we really appreciate your participation and we value your feedback. Just for giving us your feedback and sharing your thoughts, you have the opportunity to win a free prize every month. So there are several ways to enter. They're listed here. So we hope that you will take that opportunity and maybe you'll be the one to win a free prize. Also, don't forget to hit like and subscribe so that you don't miss a single episode of Mind Bending Monday. Thank you so much. Have a great day, and we'll see you next week.